we are here at Doors NYC with Asato. The show is about creative process and artists who have very distinct styles, right? So I would love to start with the emotion that I first felt when I saw Asato. It was one of quiet melancholy and something that you define as elegance in your shadows, right? Can you walk me through the origin of these feelings and how it became your definitive brand identity?
All of my inspiration are coming from negative experience that I have in the past. Like for instance, I grew up in a religious family, and my parents are divorced when I was a little. And the reason for it is the conflict of the religion they believe in. So that was so hard. Like I had to pray for 1 hour and then sitting on the ground before each meal, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that was so traumatic experience that I have. But I'm still, because my grandmother makes kimono and my mother good at drawing. So the art gave me the sense of, joyful,
Direction.
Yeah. And I noticed that the art can heal my, feel me. So, and then I graduated from Parsons MFA in 2022. And during this period of time where COVID are still there, and then there's so many people feel like mental exhaustion at the moment, and I feel them because this is something that I feel in the past, and I'm trying to overcome this kind of traumatic experience, and then also secure or give some room for the people who mentally
Are feeling
yeah.
that exhaustion.
Yeah, so I've been believing that fashion is the art media that can embrace people not only physically but also emotionally as well. So whenever I feel some negative experience or emotion, that's so sad, but at the same time I feel like, oh, I'm so lucky.
Yeah, it kind of drives
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
That
So
makes sense.
transforming negativity, imperfections and negativity into in some kind of elegance or beauty is my biggest theory, and then that's what I want to do through our brand.
That kind of directly brings me into my second question, which is your first collection or episode, Catharsis. It's extremely expressive. And what was the emotional or conceptual inspirations behind it? And what really started Catharsis for you?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I studied a lot about color theory because I'm into color. And the main inspiration of the catharsis is that I tried to understand and recognize, the human emotion that is very complicated. So, and I found the Robert Prutik. I found real emotion proposed by Robert Prutik. So it seems like similar with Wheel of Color. So he proposed that the people has 8 primary emotions. And for instance, trust and joyful or something. And then love is the emotion that made by mixing between joyful and admiration. So it's kind of interesting for me.
It was like a system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of emotion, it's so abstract,
Yeah.
right? What he proposed is the one way of understand, and thinking about something that is very abstract mathematically.
Yeah. Like
And
a very kind of linear way.
Yeah. So, and I kind of, so I created catharsis, right? And then the emotion, the shapes are very human, visually human with human or something. Because I believe that whenever I speak with people, we need to pretend someone who is best to be there at that moment, right? Disregardless who you are right now, you know what I mean? Everybody has 2 personality. The one is social self that is created to communicate with society versus the original self who they think who they are, So I try to visualize this kind of, inner communication by visualizing the each 8 primary emotions. So each of garments has like each of primary emotions, and I use inspiration, and I recall the moment that I feel this kind of emotion at the most strongly as an inspiration to make it into like this tightened dress.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
So by making catharsis, I'm more, I could understand like what's going on when people communicate with people, and also like one way of understanding people emotion, humans' emotion. Yeah.
And then I feel a lot of the influence of that through your work, and I feel a lot of like how, in my research for this, I found a little bit of your background. You said you come from a religious Buddhist background, and how you grew up against with a lot of art and Japanese myths.
Yeah.
Right? Is there any specific callbacks to that in your designs?
I think because I grew up in that kind of environment, I naturally inspired by the theory of dualism. This is not belongs to specific Japanese religion, but it's more fundamental way of thinking about
Like life just in
yeah
general.
like it's kind of like front and back, like coin has a front and back, and then when front happen, then automatically back will also like happen and created, right? So therefore, in order to see the hope and positive aspect, I try to focus on negative area. Yeah, and to pop up. So therefore, I use black as a canvas to pop up color. Yeah, because each color represent emotion according to Robert Pruitt.
I see. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and at the same time, the fact that I didn't really like to pray. I mean, I didn't like to be forced to pray by my father.
Yeah.
But the Buddhist object itself, or the kimono monk are wearing it, were so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like monk always wear a geta and a kimono, and then there's some sculptural stuff. These are the first beautiful stuff in art that I experienced in my life. So like naturally I just
Yeah, it's interesting because you took something that was pretty conceptually almost restricting for you and made it a canvas. Like it was your freedom in a sense, right? That's really cool. And then going back to those influences I was seeing on your Instagram and some of your website stuff, like the principles of, like, for example, like your 8-stitch or Ma. That one was kind of the one that resonated most with me, kind of like the space in between. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah. About, for instance, 8-stitch. Like, I had a difficult time to communicate with society because I'm too much into like creative field, so I completely lost of perspective of customers and people who is not into fashion and art. So, and while I'm struggling with that, like I cut my fingers accidentally at the backstage of runway, and then blood in for like 5 hours or ish. So, and I went to a hospital to get my fingers stitched.
Yeah.
And that's the first time for me to get a stitch. And the doctor did were worse than how I did, on the garments. And I literally asked him to bring me, thread and a needle because I think I'm better than you. And then, so I got a stitch, right, on my fingers. And if almost like few days or 1 week, it's completely healed. Like, it makes me so surprised.
Yeah.
Like, that's some sort of like
crazy.
mysterious of our body, So, and this experience is obviously a negative experience, right? Because it's so hard, blah, blah, blah. So I think I thought this experience have to be definitely applied to our collection.
Yeah.
So what should I do? And I was like, Yeah, and my grandmother makes kimono anyways, so that's why. Oh, this stitch, it would be interesting if most of the garment has this, stitches with nishiki thread, which used to use for kimono embroidery. Yeah, so actually this one.
Ah.
Yeah. So and then just how it,
Yeah.
created.
That's cool how you took like a life experience and then
Yeah.
it resonated with you and it's
Yeah,
in your work
yeah,
now.
and everything is by hand sewing, and
Yeah.
then because of robot project proposed their 8 primary motion, so therefore I decided to do 8 stitch.
So that's where it threads through.
Yeah.
So then, one of my kind of inspirations for the show is just like understanding how people like you, creatives, develop their curation for their styles. So what is your creative process look like, whatever you can share with your comfort, and like the ideation phase, how you take these like life experiences and find ways to implement it in your arts, in your life? Because I think being a creative is a lifestyle, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you develop that taste?
How do I develop the taste? I tend during the person's MFA, I needed to do a dive into my heritage and experience that I had to identify who am I as an artist. So this journey will help me a lot to think about design. But at the same time, recently I'm trying to meet with the people and then discuss about their life, and like we needed to try to find. So in order to feel happiness, we have to do some action to get this positive emotion.
Yeah.
Right? But in case of negative emotion, we didn't really need to do anything to receive negative emotion.
yeah.
Right? Because it's like naturally just we feel it. Like
Yeah.
whenever we speak with someone or, just walk on the street and then there's some, weird people like naturally do something, or even though when you speak with someone you love, how they speak and how they move might made you feel like upset or something sometimes.
Yeah.
So speaking with people, understanding what they feel and why they choose this word, and seeing their facial reaction, every single like visual experience gave me some kind of negativity in a way. So yeah, so while having my heritage and the inspiration or elements that is important for me, I try to communicate with people to understand how people feel in daily life.
Yeah, and expand that palette.
Yeah, to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what other art inspires you right now, whether that be like music or other design? What inspires you when you look at it and you cultivate it?
Recently, I've been working with Kyoto Prefecture, and most of my fabric are coming from specific area of Japan. So recently, I'm try to go to Japan to visit the factory and then discuss with the craftsmen over there to understand the history behind it, or So I'm not inspired by or any like specific artists, but I think traditional craft in Japan itself is art. So I want to more understand why is this created, or what's the story behind it, or
Yeah.
yeah, and then what does craftsman feel when they making it, or
Yeah.
what makes that traditional fabric unique, or
Yeah. There's like a density to like the culture and the idea. I think what I appreciate a lot about traditional craftsmen is like there are people who have dedicated their whole lives to
Yeah.
like one specific craft, one specific art. I feel like now as artists, especially like in my field, I feel like you have to be like know everything. Right?
Yeah.
You have to like understand
Yeah.
everything, and even if you're not perfect at all of it, the more you know, the better. Versus like the density or the deepness of like practicing one thing
Yeah.
over and over
Yeah.
and over again and perfecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm always thinking about, whenever I found very cool artworks or, garments, that is cool. But at the same time, like, is this the garments that must be created by me, who, raised and born in Japan and, grow up, really just, this kind of, environment? If no, then I won't do anything, even though the visual or this artwork itself is amazing, Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my last question to you is what do you have next? What can we look forward to?
Now I've had a project with the Kyoto prefecture and Nagoya prefecture, Aichi prefecture, and Aichi has the specific place to produce wool a lot, named Bishu. I've been preparing for events that is involved not only like Japanese culture of the fabric, but also like, for instance, matcha or kado, ikebana, shodo. There are so many interesting Japanese culture, right? That can resonate with what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I'm trying to have and make opportunity for people living in New York to experience and then enjoy Japanese culture.